for next year? And how am I going to start building out the end of this year? So it's a very timely message that I'm going to be delivering right now, because a lot of what we're going to be covering are things that you can take and incorporate into your business plan for 2017. Now, here's the one thing I do want to remind you of. 2016 is not over yet, and you don't want to start 2017 off with no business. What you want to do is you want to work harder now. Let everybody else take the rest of the year off, and you go all out and differentiate yourself in the next couple of months, because what you do now will impact your business at the very beginning of 2017. And if you want to increase your dollar volume, if you want to increase your income for next year, start it off by having closings in place ready to go in January and February. Don't start your marketing in January and February, because then you're not going to have closings until Q2. Right? So you want to start putting things in place now to set yourself up for success. Now, here's what's going to happen is other realtors are going to start to take the next couple of months off. Right? You have September, kids are back to school, everybody's working, they're getting going, but then October comes. You know what's in October? Halloween. Oh, I can't do open houses in October because Halloween's coming. I got to buy candy and get ready for that. And then November's coming. Oh, I can't work in November because we have Thanksgiving and I'm going to have family over and I got to cook. And then we get into December and now we have Hanukkah and Christmas and I can't, you know what, I'm just going to wait until January. We can't. We can't allow ourselves to fall in that trap every year, because then we're restarting our business at the beginning of each year. So what I want to do today is rapid fire a lot of stuff at you guys, just to get you thinking about what you might want to incorporate in your business plan for 2017. Now, I started in real estate in 2000, right out of college. My first role was I was a marketing assistant for a training facility within a real estate company. I then moved into an ambassador type role with that real estate company, where I was doing training and development and also building a recruiting department and helping brokers with a lot of things. I then ended up moving into sales, was very successful in sales for 3 years, so they said, why not manage? I then moved into management, and I managed a real estate broker for 9 years, and now I've been with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate for the past 4 years as their senior director of learning and development. I get to take everything that I've learned over the course of my career and now put it into learning and development and initiatives for all of our offices across the country. I know that the screen is branded Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate. I know that you're going to see that on here, and I use it as examples. Again, it's just an example, right? I'm just here to help you guys figure out how you want to impact your business and what you're doing at a hyper-local level. I'm going to share stories with you. I'm going to share ideas with you. I am never telling you what you have to do. Right? I want to make sure that you know that ahead of time. I'm never here to tell you what you have to do. Some of the stuff you hear me talk about, you may say, this guy is right on. I want to try this. Some of the stuff you may say, this guy is absolutely bonkers, and there's no way I want to do this. Either way, it's up to you to take out of what I present today and figure out how it's going to work for you and work for your business and how you want to grow it. So I want to start off by getting you in the right mindset. One of my favorite all-time movies, and I'm a child of the 80s. I was born in 1975, so when the Star Wars movies came out, it was like the first thing I really got into. And if I was homesick from school one day, I was watching a Star Wars movie, playing with the toys. But in 1980, The Empire Strikes Back came out, and I learned more life lessons from this one movie. And even to this day, there's quotes and things that I constantly refer back to Empire Strikes Back and how it had an impact on how I approach business. But the first thing I want to share is, for those of you that know the movie, there's a scene where Luke Skywalker is training with Yoda in Dagobah, which is the swamp planet. And he crashed his X-Wing fighter into the swamp and into the water. And while they're training, the X-Wing starts to sink into the water. And Luke gets very discouraged, and he's upset, and I'm never getting out of here now. I can't believe that happened. Just went to a total negative place. So then Yoda urged him, try using the Force to get the X-Wing out. And Luke had a hard time understanding, there's no way I can move that huge fighter. So Yoda kept prompting him to try, and he finally, he worked at it. He gave it what he thought was everything he could, when in reality it wasn't. The reason that he couldn't get that X-Wing out of the swamp, and because he failed, is because in his mind the X-Wing was too big. It was too big. He wouldn't be able to move it. It was a mindset issue because little old Yoda, who's 3 feet tall, then came up and easily lifted the X-Wing out of the swamp using the Force and put it to the side. And Luke looked at him and said, I don't believe it. And Yoda said, this is why you fail, because he did not believe in himself. So I want you guys to believe in yourself heading into next year and tell yourself, I can do it. And don't let those goals, don't let those things that you want to accomplish that may seem larger than life that you'll never get to impact you, because you can get there, right? If you want to increase your average sales price and you don't think you can get those $1 million listings, you can get them. You just have to put hard work and effort in behind it and get ready to do it. So don't let your mindset ruin your business. Get over it and recognize that anything that you want to accomplish is possible. So society is changing, and that's impacting us in the real estate business, and that's impacting our mindset. What's it doing? It's making us lazy, right? We now go to the computer for everything. Before, we used to wait for the books to come in to know what was new on the MLS, and we had all of the inventory, and the clients had to come to us. Well, now we sit back and we wait for the clients to come to us with all the information so we could just take them and get them into a house. We've become lazy. We rely on the internet to do everything for us. How many of us are out looking at properties, getting to know our inventory inside and out, being able to speak to it inside and out? We don't know our product, right? Also, our way of marketing communication has changed drastically, right? It used to be you picked up the phone. Or I've heard stories, and I wasn't around for this, but I've heard stories that cars used to have CDs in them, and the broker would announce new listings. So if you were out showing properties or in your car, that's how you would hear about new listings. And you would communicate back to the office through these CDs and walkie-talkies in your car. So it's crazy to think how communication has drastically changed now and how it's impacted us. Not only how we're talking to our consumers, but how the consumers are coming to us. They're coming directly through different websites, communicating through websites. You have Facebook, Facebook Messenger, Twitter, Twitter direct messaging, Instagram, Snapchat, live video, all these different ways now. You have Skype, you have FaceTime, you still have phone calls, you still have text messaging, right? It's changing the way that we do everything. So you want to start thinking about how to adapt to that and how to put systems in place to embrace it. And then the other thing that's changed is trust, authenticity, and relationships have become the #1 priority of consumers. It's not information. It used to be that a consumer would hire us because they need information and guidance. Now, they are looking for somebody that they trust, somebody that's going to be real with them and guide them through the process, and someone they feel comfortable with because there's a relationship there. All right, so the whole impact of how society has changed definitely plays into real estate. And these are just things I want you thinking about as we look at how we're going to prospect. Another thing is we are extremely reactive in this business. The average person in an office setting checks their email 37 times an hour. 37 times an hour. And I talk to real estate professionals all the time, and I ask them, hey, one of the questions I always like to ask is, do you prefer to work in the office or do you prefer to work at home? And a lot of them say, oh, I like to work at home. I'm like, okay, so what do you do when you work at home? And they're like, well, what do you mean? I was like, what do you try to accomplish? How do you have it set up? Do you have a home office? Do you have a list of goals? Do you have a production board at home? What do you do? And they're like, well, no, I have my phone, and you know, I'm able to answer questions. I'm like, so that's what you consider working from home? That's not working from home. That's being reactive in an industry where if you want to control your income and your business, you need to be proactive, right? People are reactive. We're sitting and waiting for a client to reach out to us to give us something to do. We should have a list of things in front of us that we know we need to get to, whether we're working from home, an office, in our car, whether we're on vacation and have to get stuff done. We have a list of things that we need to get done on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis to hit our numbers and hit our goals. So I have a 3-step plan for success. Now let me test out this chat box here. You guys have a chat box and you have a drop-down menu so you could send this to the entire audience. Who could tell me which band this is right here, the picture of the band that I have in the middle of the screen? Who knows what band that is? Let me see it in the chat box. This way I know you guys are listening to me too. We don't have anyone from the South on here today? So I guess no one wants to participate in my little chat experiment there. So that's Leonard Skinner, right? Leonard Skinner did a song called Gimme 3 Steps, right? So that's why I used them. I'm surprised that nobody identified who they were. Great band, Southern rock, good old boys, great music. They had a band called Gimme 3 Steps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you my quick 3-step plan for success that will hopefully get you guys kick-started on growing your business. Number one, do the things you hate to do. It doesn't get any simpler than this, but the things you hate to do are usually the things that are going to be most productive for you, and these are the things that we push off because we like to be reactionary. If you want to see your business grow and you want to get better at prospecting, you have to start doing the things that you hate to do. If I have 100 people in a room and I ask them who likes to make phone calls, I usually get 1 or 2. And those folks are usually, they either worked in boiler rooms or on Wall Street, or they've had those types of jobs where they are just used to making the calls. But a lot of us hate making phone calls. And I'm not saying we have to make cold calls, but warm calls work. Follow-up is very important, and we tend to put it back on email and text messaging, which is very passive. Very passive. It takes a lot of time for us to lock down appointments or to get to where we need to go through text messaging and email, where if you just pick up the phone and have a 5-minute conversation, you got the client locked down, where you know where you stand, right? But people don't like making phone calls. Is it going to make you more productive? In my opinion, absolutely. Again, you may agree to disagree with me here, but I feel that it will definitely make you more productive if you have if you have a schedule of when you're going to be making your follow-up calls and your prospecting calls. The other thing is do the things other realtors hate to do, which quite honestly is usually the same stuff that we hate. But you know that realtors the next couple of months, they're taking it easy. You want to differentiate yourself. You want to cut back on the competition in your local market area, start getting listing appointments. The next couple of months is the time to really step it up. Recognize what other realtors hate to do and do those activities. And the third is be prepared to spend lots of money on what you would consider easy leads that are still going to take a lot of work. So if you're not going to do the things that you hate to do, the things that others hate to do, you really need to be prepared to have a strong marketing budget where you're going to be spending a lot of money on passive prospecting, hoping that these people reach out to you based on what you're putting out there. And then that mindset of just because I'm doing marketing or generating internet leads or getting easy leads, only 5% or less than 5% in a lot of cases are going to convert. So you have to do mass lead generation, which costs a lot of money to get to those leads that are going to convert. And you also have to put a very strong cultivating process in because 95% of those leads are not going to convert right away. And you have to figure out how long do I need to work them and how do I need to work them in order to get them to closing. So going back to Empire Strikes Back, one of my favorite all-time quotes, and to this day this is what drives me in business, is when Yoda asked Luke to get the X-Wing out of the swamp, he said, Luke looked at Yoda and said, okay, I'll try. And Yoda said, no, try not. Do or do. I'll try my Yoda voice, right? Try not. Do or do not. There is no try. And that's exactly, that resonated with me. I remember at 5 years old, that resonated with me to the point that to this day, if somebody asks me to do something or tells me, do this for your business, you're gonna, I don't say, all right, well, let me just try it. Because in that mind, I'm allowing myself to fail. Saying I'm going to try it, you're allowing yourself to fail. If you say you're going to do it and hold yourself accountable to it, every morning we wake up in this business out of business. Every morning. You are your own boss. It's up to you to hold yourself accountable and push yourself. So tell yourself you're going to do it. Don't allow yourself to say, oh, I'll try. Now with prospecting, I want us to quit looking for the people we're looking for and start looking for the people that are looking for you. This is a quote from Doug Firebaugh, and I think it's very relevant to today. Everyone is thinking about buying or selling real estate or renting, right? Everyone is thinking about real estate. How many folks do you meet out there that say, you know what, I'm never going to do anything in real estate. I'm just going to live with my folks. Now, some of you might have those people living with you right now, but eventually they are going to buy or rent or need their own place. or they're going to inherit property eventually that they are then going to become a homeowner. So they're always thinking about it, right? It's always a topic that's hot. You go to any party, anywhere, people are asking you about the real estate market. Yet we're always on the search for these new people that we don't know. We need to stop and look at our sphere of influence. Look at the people that are in front of us. Look at all the people that we come into contact with every single day. Every day we are meeting new people, whether it's somebody that's swiping your groceries at the grocery store, or somebody at Target, or you go out to eat and somebody's making your lunch for you, or serving or waiting tables, or the bartender, or the mailman that comes to your house every day that you never said hi to. There are so many people out there, and they're all thinking about real estate. So are you a secret realtor, or do they know that you're the real estate professional that should be in their network that they reach out to? So don't worry about those people you don't know, and let's start thinking about, how do I spend time on the people that I do know that are interested in real estate? So if I ask you guys, what's your role as a real estate professional? What's your role as a real estate professional? A lot of you are going to say, well, I show properties, I'm a consultant, I'm a psychologist, I'm a therapist, I do this, I do that, right? But none of us, we all hit on the sales side, but none of us stop and think about the marketing side, right? So what I want you to do is to start being a marketing company first and a real estate salesperson second. Right? You have to do advertising and marketing to get the opportunities, even if they're in your sphere of influence. You have to be networking. You have to get your name out there. Marketing is branding, right? You never want to wake up in the morning, walk outside to get in your car and see a different colored sign in your neighbor's lawn, and you say, oh, you didn't know I was in real estate? No, you never told me. How could that possibly happen? Right? It's because you're not thinking like a marketing company. You're thinking about the commission check and the commission check only, and what do I need to do to get people in my car, and I got to go, and I got to get to that commission check, which is important. But the first part of real estate, and the part that we miss out on, because we all jump right in and have to get to that commission check first, is how do I put a process in place to make sure that I'm marketing and branding myself correctly to an audience that's going to react to me, right? We don't want to be an accidental realtors. Accidental realtors fall into the business, and you can make a career on this, but you have no way of predicting what your business is going to look like year to year, and you have no way of strategically growing your business if you're an accidental realtor. You just don't, because you can't plan on where that business is going to come from. You might get, a lead from your brother or sister. You might, your neighbor might list with you. You might know somebody that that works with a spouse, and you're getting business all over the place, and you'll fall into that. But if you want to control your business and you want to grow it, put systems in place that are going to allow you to market and brand yourself, and figure out what audience you want to reach out to and be in front of. Because what sells more, a decent product that everyone knows about, or a great product that no one knows about, right? The decent product that everyone knows about will outsell the great product that no one knows about. And I use McDonald's as an example for this. Now, McDonald's is at a different level. They're a national audience that they target market to, right? Billions of dollars in their marketing and advertising funds, how they do it. But if you relate McDonald's to a restaurant that's a little bit more in your market area, or a hyper-local market area, a little bit smaller, what McDonald's does is they've convinced everyone that they're the place to go for fast food, for a quick burger, now for coffee and the cafes and things like that. They name their kids' meal a Happy Meal. Like, what kid doesn't want a Happy Meal? What parent doesn't want to get them a Happy Meal? It's got a toy in it, right? All of their marketing is done to, quite honestly, and I hate to say it this way, sell a subpar product. Is it a high-end quality Angus hamburger that you're purchasing like you could get at a local restaurant? No, but that local restaurant that has that burger that blows away a Big Mac, they don't have the marketing to sell it. They're not putting the name out there. They're not getting the public to be convinced that if you're going to buy a burger, this is the place to come to. McDonald's has that locked down. So you want to think about that in real estate. And I hate to put it this way, but have you ever met a realtor that does a ton of business, but you don't want to work with them, and you feel like they don't treat clients the right way, and you always question, how does this person do so much business? It's probably because they're so good at marketing themselves and generating opportunities. Well, I've worked with realtors that are over the top incredible, just incredible to work with. And I come to find out they sell 1 or 2 properties a year because they have no marketing in place. No one knows how good their product is. So think about that with all the advertising and marketing and prospecting that you're going to do. And while you're marketing and you're advertising, you want to be authentic, right? If you're marketing through social media, if you're marketing through newsletters, and if you're doing direct mailing and all the stuff we're going to talk about in the 21 Ways to Prospect, you want to be authentic. Now, what do I mean by that? Here's my good friend Cookie Monster. Hello, it's me, Cookie Monster. You know, I love Cookie Monster. He was always one of my favorite folks on Sesame Street. Here's the problem I have with Cookie Monster. You would think his favorite cookie or his favorite food is a cookie. It's no longer a cookie. His favorite food is now eggplant and watermelon. And I know what Sesame Street is doing. They're trying to appeal to kids eating healthier. But have you looked at the numbers of how many kids are watching Sesame Street anymore? Now, I grew up on Sesame Street. I had Electric Company and Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers. I didn't have 40 channels of cartoons. We wanted cartoons. We watched them Saturday morning. Other than that, I woke up early. I'm watching Sesame Street and those shows. So I grew up on this. It's a little frustrating to me. I get you want to showcase he's eating healthy, but the kids see through it. His name is Cookie Monster. Why is Cookie Monster eating eggplant? I don't care what you say. I'm not buying it. And I look at the same thing with real estate advertising. Only put out there what you want to get back. For example, if you advertise, hey, if you have any questions at all in the local real estate market, you call me. I'll be happy to answer all of your questions. And then what happens is we get somebody that has questions, but they're not ready to buy this weekend. You know what we're doing? Is we're trying to shut them down. You're not ready to buy for another year and a half? Well, let me email you a couple things. They have questions. Why are we discounting them? If you want to be authentic, say, only call me if you want to go out this weekend and buy a house. Otherwise, whatever we're advertising, whatever we're marketing, however we're portraying ourselves, expect that in return, because authenticity is huge right now to clients. It is huge, right? If you're advertising, if you have questions, when they call you, it better be a great experience. If you're not happy that they called after you advertised to call them or to call you, and then you're not happy about the phone call or you don't pick up, that is not being authentic. So you want to think about that with everything that you're doing, right? Realtor marketing exists for one purpose only. It's to get consumers to call or email us. That's it. That's why we market ourselves. That's why we brand ourselves, to get these opportunities. So when we get them, we have to make the most of it. We have to be authentic, and we have to have a timely response. Have you ever looked at the national response rates on internet leads? It is sickening how long it takes us in this business to get back to internet leads. And then we discount them, and then we let them go, and then nothing comes out of it. These folks, there's a 236% higher chance that an internet lead will work with the first person they come into contact with. But for every minute that goes by that we don't respond to these leads, we're hurting ourselves and our opportunities to make a lot of money, right? We're putting out there to call us, to email us, and we're not responding to these people. We're not answering our phone. Our voicemail is full. Well, you can't even leave a voicemail, not that anyone does anymore anyway. But you want to think about this stuff, right? And how many listings sold last month in your local market area? What was the average selling price? What neighborhood saw the most activity? Tell me about the most recent listing in your neighborhood. If you don't know these answers, it's because you're not in real estate. I always say, if you want to be in real estate, you have to be in real estate. What do I mean by that? Know your product. Know what we're selling. Right? If you go into McDonald's and you ask about the food in there, they're going to be able to explain it to you, to show it to you. There's a menu. They're in there with their product. I know I'm using McDonald's, and I actually like McDonald's, just to throw that in there, but in limited quantities every once in a while. But we're not in our product. People call us, and we rely on the MLS. You know what? Consumers today, they have more information available to them than we will ever have available to us in the MLS. By the time we're getting calls and emails, they've looked at videos, they've done research, all the pictures they've gone through, they've read up on it, they've probably driven past the home, they've gone to Google Maps, right? And then they're coming to us, and all we can do is relay back to them what we see in the computer, what we're reading on the screen. Oh, that's a 4-bedroom, 2.5. They don't care about the brick and mortar. They have that. But they want to know, what are the intangibles? What can you tell me about the community, the walking distance to a school or to transportation? You know, what can you tell me about that area? What can you tell me about the inside of the home? Explain the fireplace to me. Sell me from the inside out. Explain the landscaping. Does it have a nice presence? Does it have new siding? Does it show well? That's what clients are looking for right now. We have to be in our product to be able to explain our product. And that leads me back to the Apple Store experience, creating just an unbelievable experience that whether you like Droids, whether you like Google, Apple, it's irrelevant. You cannot beat the Apple Store experience. I am a huge Apple guy. If I'm in a mall and I see, and there's my Jersey accents coming out, a mall, if I see an Apple Store, I'm going in. Even if I'm not going to buy anything, I'm going in just because there's excitement. There's people in there. There's hustle and bustle. There's things to play with and see. It's visually appealing. It's an experience. And the folks that work in an Apple Store, they're called geniuses. They're Apple geniuses. Why? Because they know everything there is to know inside and out of their Apple product. They know the product. They live the product. They own the product. They can explain it to you. They can show it to you. You can touch it. They can walk you through it. You leave there with your product set up after you buy it. It's a phenomenal experience, one that we should look to translate back to real estate in knowing our product, which is our properties that we're trying to sell in our local market area, especially the inventory within our own brokerages. All right, and I always said, how great would it be to be known as a real estate genius and have that on your business card? Carlton Utter, real estate genius, right on the business card. That has a nice sound to it. So we're going to start talking about the 21 ways for you to prospect, and we're doing that rapid fire style. But before that, always think about who's your audience. What's your niche? Who are you trying to target market? You're going to have, your sphere of influence and the people that you already know that are thinking about real estate, past clients, things like that. That's part of the 21. But you also want to think about your marketing, your branding, everything that you do. What are you trying to gain out of it? What's your ROI? What are your goals? How many listings? How many sales? How many leads do you want to generate from everything that you put out there? Who is your audience? So one of my favorite all-time ads, which is actually probably the best branding. It doesn't even say Wendy's on the commercial right now, but you all know that this is Wendy's, right? They found a way to market and brand themselves by just a slogan. Where's the beef? I think of Wendy's. Every time I drive past a Wendy's, you know what I think of? Is where's the beef, right? That's all I think about. Their branding for this commercial was phenomenal. And the funny thing about this ad is it only ran for 1 year. They had different variations. The little lady there on the right-hand side who does the where's the beef. And I know we all do a great where's the beef impersonation. If we were live right now, I'd ask you all to share your best where's the beef impersonation. Where's the beef? Where's the beef? Over and over. And it made the point in their audience with people that are going to fast food restaurants to start to recognize they don't care about anyone. They want the fast food patrons that are going to recognize that you're going to get more beef and less fun if you come to Wendy's, and that branding and that marketing worked well for them. Now, that ad ran for 1 year over 30 years ago. 30 years ago. And to this day, in my mind, it's relevant. Now, if we have any millennials or Gen Yers on here today, you might not know what this ad is. Just go to YouTube, look up Where's the Beef, and you'll see all those commercials. They were highly effective. So, real estate, activity-driven business, not reactionary. We need to be proactive in everything that we do, because the difference between try and triumph is just a little oomph. That's it. If you put that little bit of extra added effort into everything that you do, how much better can you make that experience for your clients? How much more of an opportunity can you give yourself every single time with your marketing, your advertising, with every conversation that you have? Put that extra oomph into what you do to differentiate yourself. So let's talk rapid fire, real estate blackjack, 21 ways to prospect for buyers and sellers. Now, some of this stuff I talked about already, but I thought it was really important for that first half hour for us to get in the right mindset and start thinking about when we're prospecting and all of these things that we're doing. How does it work with me, trying to create relationships with clients, trying to be authentic, branding myself, and finding that audience that is going to buy or sell real estate for me. All right, so I thought it was important to set it up that way. And now what we're going to do is we're going to rapid fire through the 21 ways to prospect for buyers and sellers. Some of these I will go pretty quick with because they're very straightforward, and some of them I'm going to share a few stories and examples. So to start off, pick up the phone, right? Make warm phone calls. Put it in your schedule that you are going to follow up with clients. We get internet leads. We have open house attendees. We have past clients. You have endless amounts of people that you can reach out to. If you need folks, there's still phone books out there. Pick it up, open up a page, and start calling. Now, I'm just kidding, obviously, about that. I'm not a big fan of cold calls, but I am a huge fan of making the warm phone calls. We should all have a database. If you don't have a database, then you need to pay more attention to this presentation because you have to figure out how to have a full pipeline. Numbers solve all of your problems. If you have a full database and a full pipeline, if a deal falls through or something happens, it eases the pain a little bit more. If you're living and dying by that one client, it hurts a lot. Now, trust me, nobody likes fall-throughs. I used to be more afraid to call my wife if a deal fell through than I was my clients because she already had that commission spent. If I called her and told her that deal is falling through, she'd say, you better go get 2 more deals and you better do it quick. She was on me. She was a good business manager, my wife. She was on that stuff, right? So if you have the numbers, you have a little bit more security. So the database is important, but going back to the database, pick up the phone, right? Make the warm phone calls. The phone does dial out, folks, not just in. And when the phone calls come in, answer it. So many times we just put it in voicemail. Oh, if it's important, they'll leave a message. No. We are spending thousands of dollars to market and advertise ourselves, telling people to call us. If they call you and you do not pick up and your voicemail is full, they are not going to work with you. They are going to go to the next person. Or if it's something that's really important to a client that's possibly going to buy or sell from you and you don't answer, they're going to go to the next person. We lose so much business in this industry because we don't answer the phone. We want to text and email, or, oh, if I don't answer, they'll just text me. No, they're not going to. Pick up the phone. Even these little aliens from Sesame Street, if you guys know this skit, these 2 guys, the phone's ringing. The 2 aliens are going, yip, 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 telephone, oing, oing, yip, 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 yip. Even the aliens know that when the phone rings, pick it up. You want to sell more real estate, figure out your game plan on how you're going to be using your phone to make calls and how you are going to approach the phone calls coming into you. Number 2, door knocking. Is this an old and outdated way to do business? A lot of people I know would tell you the other way around. I know so many realtors right now, so many that are having a ton of success by walking neighborhoods. And they're going with a purpose. They're leaving, little flags. If it's 4th of July, little flags on everybody's front yard with their business or their business card attached to it. They're knocking on the doors to inform people and let them know that property's just sold or that there's a shortage of inventory. They're knocking on doors to invite people to open houses. They're getting face-to-face, and they are having a ton of success. Again, honestly, I wouldn't be telling you this if I really didn't have these stories. Now, this is something that I did in the past. Obviously, I'm not in true full-time sales today out there doing it, but if I move back into full-time sales tomorrow, you better believe that the first goal I have is to make sure that everyone in my immediate farm area, which would be the neighborhood I lived in, I would have to make sure that everyone in my immediate farm area in my neighborhood knew who I am and that I sold real estate within 30 days of being active in the business. That would be the first goal I have, is to make sure everyone in my neighborhood knew who I am and that I am the real estate agent they should contact if they have a need. And the best way to do that is not only direct mailing, phone calls, email, social media marketing, all that other fun stuff, but door knocking to get face-to-face and introduce myself. Social media. I could do a whole 3-hour program for you guys on social media. Here's the thing with social media is you have a lot of avenues that you can go down. You have to think about which avenues make the most sense for you and the audience that you're trying to hit. All right? Now, every audience is different within social media. And now you have the emergence of live video and real-time posting on Instagram, Facebook, and especially Snapchat. I use them all, and each one has a different purpose. So real quick, Facebook, it's your online sphere of influence, basically everyone and anyone. This is one of the main places you need to go. LinkedIn is your online resume, professional only. You're not sharing what you had for dinner. You're sharing your background, your accomplishments, and you're driving your client database through your email signature, through your marketing to check you out on LinkedIn before they find you on Google and find you somewhere else. Twitter, glorified text messaging, great for news. I know some people that do business, but it's really just for advertising, some marketing. I've never done a transaction for Twitter, but I've made some great connections, and I know a lot of people follow me for real estate news articles. Let's look at Instagram. Instagram, to me, right now, Gen Yers, millennials, first-time home buyers are a third of all purchases in the U.S. A third of all purchases in the U.S. right now are coming from millennials and Gen Yers, right? They are using Instagram. High population of Gen Xers and millennials on Instagram. Why? Because they like it. It's quick, it's fast, it's visual, it's video only, right? They can decide who they're going to follow. Also, they use it as a search engine, not just to connect with people. Now, think about the #1 tool that we have to market ourselves and to drive opportunities in real estate. It's not our beautiful smiling faces, although we'd like to think so sometimes. It is pictures of houses and communities and pictures of information within a community. So ballparks, the library, the schools, things like that to sell an area, right? Great opportunity for us to connect with that audience. Pinterest, 80% female demographics on Pinterest. 80% of users on Pinterest are female. The fastest growing demographic in real estate right now is single female purchasers, making up 20% of the overall sales in the U.S. So if that's a target audience of yours, Pinterest is big. Snapchat, my 13-year-old is amazing at it. I'm trying to figure it out. For me, it's more of a communication tool than a marketing tool. But if you're looking to connect with millennials and the younger folk, it definitely has an opportunity for you. And it is the new way of communication. You're seeing Instagram start to move to that type of social sharing as well, where you're doing stories and real-time posts instead of just sharing old photos and things like that. So, you know, it's definitely something to check out if it's the right audience for you, but it has to make sense. And the one thing I'll say is be great at one thing before you're decent at two. I know so many people that, you know, in 2011 heard about social media and went and signed up on every account, and they only use Facebook. And all their other accounts are dead. They don't even have a profile photo. You try to be great at 5 things rather than being great at one and then start to build into doing something else, right? So get really good at one social media account before you start taking on all of them. It's going to really impact your business a lot more. And then the other thing to think about with social media is if you are in an area that has a lot of international purchasers, 10% of all the sales in the U.S. last year were from international purchasers outside of our country. So social media is definitely a powerful tool to get yourself in front of international buyers as well. Pay-per-click leads. This is taking your website, your URL, and basically paying Google, paying Yahoo, paying Bing to make sure that you are one of the top websites found if people are searching by certain keywords. All right, so there's keyword research, ad creation, landing page development, account setting up, all of this stuff that goes into pay-per-click leads. It's just another way to source business, and if you have the marketing budget and you want to make that investment, it's going to drive business your way. You're now figuring out a way to make sure that you're in the top of the search engines when it comes to marketing your website or a landing page. All right, and website landing pages are another huge opportunity. So what is a landing page? It's basically a way to get somebody to provide their contact information before being filtered into a website. Now, these are really good to use if you are doing pay-per-click, right, to generate instant contacts instead of just paying all of that money to put people into your website to never get their contact information. What you're doing is you're just getting people to register and you're generating opportunities before they're put into that information page. These also work extremely well if you are doing advertising on social media. So all of that targeting that you see done on Facebook and Instagram and now Twitter and those sites where you can pay to advertise, I would be driving all of that advertising back into a landing page to capture their information before filtering them into any other sites. Display advertising. There's my good man, Phil Dunphy. I love Phil Dunphy. I hear a lot of folks that aren't a big fan of his commercials for NAR. I happen to absolutely love him. I think it's great that they tied his character in, just because it's funny and it gives real estate a personality. So here we have display advertising. There is a time and place for display advertising. Billboards work, right? When you sponsor the shopping cart at the grocery store, it works. When you sponsor a display on the side of a bus or on a bench, right? Everywhere somebody turns, they're seeing you. That's branding. That's marketing. So you are everywhere. Now, whether you sell one house or 100, perception is reality to the public. When you're marketing and advertising yourself, perception is reality. If everywhere they turn, right, everywhere they turn, they see your information, it's going to drive business back to you, right? So display advertising definitely still has a time and a place. Direct mail, sending handwritten letters to homeowners if you know that there's a shortage of inventory, right? Sending letters to let people know just sold, just put on the market, inviting them to open houses. Still very important and a great way to prospect for business. Farming, picking a select area. This is how I built my business. I had 700 houses in the neighborhood that I was selling to. Now, I grew up in central New Jersey. I moved an hour and 10 minutes out west, right on the border of New Jersey and Pennsylvania. I had no sphere of influence at the time. I had no kids. I had no family. I had nothing, and I had to sell real estate. So what I did have is a new community, a Toll Brothers community that I bought a house in. I was one of the later stages of the homes being built out, so we were starting to already see turnover. And I went all in on farming every month. And it's got to be about consistency. It's consistency over quantity when it comes to farming. That's the key. It's not, oh, maybe this month, oh, maybe next quarter. It's got to be every month. Every month they got to see your face. This is your chance to get your foot in the door every single month. And whether they throw it away or they put it on the fridge, at some point, someone's going to come home or wake up and say, maybe we should sell the house. And they're going to say, oh, you know what, I get that card every month from Carl. Right? It's branding. They're seeing you and your information constantly coming in, and you're making that investment in that neighborhood. I had a ton of success doing this personally. What I did was I customized my cards. I didn't want to send out generic cards. So what I did is I took a picture of myself. This was the first card that got a huge response from me. I took a picture of myself walking my dog. I had a shirt on with my company's color, the company name. I had a balloon tied to my dog, and I had a hat on. And the card said, this is Carlton Utter, the real estate guy for Greenwich Chase. And that was the neighborhood. Stop him when you see him walking his dog and ask him what your home is worth. And after a few months of sending that out, I could not walk around the block without 3 or 4 people stopping me every day. Hey, what's going on? Where are the interest rates? Hey, I just saw this house went on the market. What are they asking? It was the best thing I could have done. It was branding and advertising at its peak. Now, the other thing with farming is if you're farming that neighborhood, you have to be in that neighborhood. Whether you live there or not, you have to know what's going on. If there's an association, you're going to the meetings. You're figuring out how to advertise within that association, if it's a newsletter, whatever it might be, right? You have to be in that community. If there's yard sales, how can I support it? What can I do? Can I host a community event at a park within that farm area? Right? You have to think about, how do I take advantage and really own that? Mass email. If you have a database or a CRM that allows you to set up campaigns or to direct mail from it within groups, take advantage of that. Make sure that you're utilizing mass email and sending these campaigns out to each and every client. Right? A good thing to look for would be a CRM where you can categorize your clients. For example, first-time home buyers, open house attendees. Maybe you break it down by folks looking between 2 and 250, between 250 and 3. And you break it down that way. And then that way you're able to send out mass emails. Every time you see a new listing pop up in your area, if the home's priced at $225, you're sending that out to everybody in your database that you have in that group between 2 and 250. Because you recognized your audience and who that's going to resonate with. You're giving yourself the best chance to get a return on it. Networking groups, right? Networking groups have a time and place, and it's a good opportunity to not do direct prospecting, but to generate leads, and also just to get to know other people. Now, you have live networking groups, which are like your with Tip and Business for Breakfast, where you go, and some of them you just go and you talk about your business and what you're seeing, and you just, kind of go and hang out and have breakfast with everyone. You get to know these people as business resources. Some of them you show up and you have to bring 2 leads for 2 people. Whatever it might be, if that works for you, great. The other thing is you have online networking groups. Now, I show a picture here. I'm a member of this networking group called the League of Real Estate Geeks. We call ourselves LORG. We really are geeks. But that's okay, because we're in a time in society where it's actually cool to be a geek. We grew up on comic books. We grew up on superheroes, and we're loving superhero movies. We grew up on Star Wars and science fiction and bad science fiction. And we have this group where we're all real estate professionals, most of us in Canada and the United States, with all different real estate companies. And it's a very close-knit group. And do we share geeky stuff? Absolutely. But we're also passing referrals back and forth. We're sharing success stories and challenges in real estate and where we're speaking and what we're doing. And it's just a really cool thing, because I'll go visit a city to do a speaking engagement, and I'll make sure I have dinner with one of these folks. And it's just like this built-in network that you have. And what I like about it is it generates a lot of referrals. So you can go online. There's a lot of them on Facebook. LinkedIn has a lot of different groups. But if you're going to do it, really go all in and participate. Don't just go in and monitor and not share anything. You kind of have to go all in with these networking groups. FSBOs, huge prospecting tool. I don't care what anyone says about FSBOs. Here you have someone that wants to sell their house. Now, what do we do for a living? We sell houses. At some point, they are going to need us. I don't care how much they want to push it off. You don't see too many for sale by owners where a sign goes down and it doesn't come back up with a different colored sign in front of it. They are going to list with somebody. Now, the reality is, according to NAR, only 20% of all for sale by owners sell on their own. Of that 20%, half of the people that they sell to, the seller already knows. So they have a 10% success rate in their marketing. 10%, right? They need us, right? So for sale by owners, it's just one of those things. You got to bite the bullet, and you got to call them. And don't call them and be fake. Be authentic. Hey, I sell real estate. You're selling real estate. I owe it to myself and my clients to know all the properties that are available. You're not on the MLS. I would just like an opportunity to come by and see that. Well, we're not looking to work with her. That's no problem. I completely get that. I need to know the inventory that's available. I'd like to come by and see the home. And if they push you off, or another approach you might want to take is, hey, I'm just curious, do you have a time frame in mind of when you would consider listing with a realtor? Never, I'll never, and they hang up. Okay, no problem. We're going to get those. Every no is one step closer to a yes. I hope you guys get that. Every no is one step closer to a yes. So the no's are all right. But if you ask them, do you have a time frame in mind of when you're going to consider listing with a realtor? They're usually going to say, well, we're going to try it for 3 months. Great, no problem. Hey, do you mind if I come by and showcase for you what I can do to help sell your home? So when you are ready to list, you already know what I can bring to the table and how I can help you, and hopefully you'll consider me as your real estate professional. Would you mind if I came by and did that for you? Who's going to say no to that? Or at the very least say, hey, do you mind if I check back in with you next month or when we get closer to 3 months to try and get that appointment? Or they may say, you know what, we don't know. We never thought about that. Well, a lot of people test the market as a for sale by owner. Right now, according to the stats I see, you have a 20% success rate. I wish you all the luck in the world. However, you know what? You should really start thinking about how long you're going to test before you make the decision to list with a realtor and get the marketing, and not just the marketing, but also just the hands-on support to help get you through the closing. And that's an intangible. A lot of people think that our job is to just get the home under contract. That's half of our job. Once you list with me, the marketing, that's half of the job. The other half is actually getting you to the closing, and that's the hard part. Finding the buyers, it's marketing. We're going to negotiate a deal. The hard part is getting you to the closing table, and everything that happens between the signing of the contract and the closing. That's where you're really going to need help. I'd like to come by and explain to you what could happen and how I could support you there. So I don't know if you guys like those tactics. If you do, just type yes in the chat box. Let me know. So far, I haven't seen anybody respond or share anything in the chat box. So it would just be great to know that you guys are there, and I'm not, just hearing crickets, and that you guys are actually hearing everything I'm talking about. So I'll keep moving along here, but if you like this stuff, just type yes in the chat box for me. So I don't see a for sale by owner sign. I see a help wanted sign. No, I don't see that. I see help needed. They are going to list with somebody. All right, expired listings. It's another prospecting activity. My favorite prospecting activity and the easiest way. Oh, they're chatting in the questions box. Oh, okay. Let me go. Oh, I'm sorry I missed that. Oh, good. You guys had some good guesses. You had Allman Brothers, Doobie Brothers, Charlie Daniels, 38. Oh, those are all good bands, too. 38 Special is fantastic, but it was Leonard Skinner. That's great. I'm sorry I missed it. No crickets here. Good ideas. Good. I'm glad you guys like this stuff. That's great. So I'll keep moving along. Expired listings. This was the easiest way for me to get my phone calls out of the way. Now, it's harder than ever right now to get phone numbers for clients to reach out to them. What I used to love to do is I would go in the office every morning and I'd pull a list of expired listings within 3 counties, and I would make 10 to 15 phone calls, and it was, hey, I noticed your home recently came off the market, was wondering if you're considering putting it back on. It was the easiest call, yes, no, or a conversation. Again, every no, one step closer to a yes. I know that if I call 10 people, I'm going to get 1 appointment. So for me, it was all a numbers thing. I had to make sure I had 10 people every day to get to that 1 appointment. But expired listings, I would not just look at recent expireds. I would look at timing it out. And what I mean by that is look at when the properties expire, and then look at when they listed. And there's usually a reason that people list a certain time of the year, right? So going into next year, here's what I want you guys doing. In January and February, make sure you're looking at expired listings from the previous year that listed their homes in Q1 or Q2. All right? Because if it expired and they took it off, there might be a reason that they listed their home in Q1 and Q2. And if it didn't sell last year, they might be thinking, hey, we want to put it back on, but this is the time frame that we need to do it. And a lot of people need to sell over the summer to get their kids in the new school. So if you go back and you look at expired listings that way, if you can't make a phone call, no problem. Knock on the door, send them a letter, figure out a way to get in front of them. Go through the tax records, get their name and their contact information if it's not provided. And then another thing you could do is what's really cool is LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn shows you, like, there used to be that game, The 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, and how all these actors tied back into being in the movie with Kevin Bacon. On LinkedIn, you could go through and you could search for a name, and it'll show you who you know in LinkedIn that knows that person, right? So you could work your network, your sphere of influence that way by maybe saying, okay, let me type this homeowner's name in and see if I know anyone that might know this person. And wow, look, I know so-and-so who actually works at the same company as that person. Maybe that gives me an in. Now, that might be thinking totally out of the box, but I know people that use this and it works. So if you can't find phone numbers, sometimes work the back end around through LinkedIn and see if you can get, if you know people that know these other people. Your strategic alliance, and here we have the Justice League of Superheroes. Batman's my favorite, by the way. And why I like Batman is Batman, to me, he's a detective. He doesn't have a superpower. What he does, it's just like us in real estate. What Batman does is before he goes to battle a bad guy, he goes to the Batcave, he does research, he preps for it. For me, it reminds me of going on a listing appointment. Before I go on a listing appointment, I go in my Batcave, I do all the research, the prep work, I put everything together, and I get ready to go out and get in front of that seller and get that listing appointment. So I always liked Batman. He has that cool utility belt. So all these guys are pretty cool, but that's your strategic alliance. They're even more powerful when they're together. So whether you work on a team or not, you have a built-in team that you don't even realize. You know contractors, you know exterminators, you know inspectors, you know appraisers, you know mortgage representatives, right? You have a manager or a broker or somebody helping you in the office. You have mentors or trainers in the industry. They're your strategic alliance, right? Use them. Learn from them. And not only that, is don't be afraid to use your strategic alliance to generate either referrals or ask them to send you business. If you have a home inspector that you gave 10 inspections to in the past couple of months, it's not hard to just say, hey, do you know anyone thinking of buying or selling? Right? A lot of these folks that we have on our team and are part of our alliance that we put in front of buyers and sellers or recommend, right? These folks are in the business. They've got to know somebody once in a while. Make sure that they know that if somebody comes up, they better be thinking of you as the realtor that they're going to refer it to. Right? I don't want to see everybody that you come across. Attorneys, if you're an attorney-driven state like I am in New Jersey, right? Attorneys are coming across people all the time that have a need to sell a house, right? If the attorney gets asked for a recommendation of a realtor, are they going to recommend you? They're not going to unless you ask them for the business. So 65%, all right? In the questions area, what do you guys think 65% represents? Just take a guess. What do you guys think this number represents? Oh, and we're coming up on top of the hour, so I got to go really fast here. All right, so for the sake of time, what I'm going to do is just because we're hitting the top of the hour and I want to get you guys out, I'm going to go real quick here. 65% is according to NAR, the amount of business that every real estate professional in the U.S. is doing from their sphere of influence, from personal referrals and from past clients. If you add those together, it should be 65% of your business, right? So your sphere of influence, they need to know that you're in real estate. If you want to increase the amount of leads coming through from personal referrals, right, take advantage of that and make sure they know you're in real estate. Give them a stack of your business cards. My brother is my best referral agent. One day he was like, should I get my license? I was like, no. Then I got to pay you a referral. Right now I just take you out for a nice dinner every time you send me somebody, right? Or you take some of these folks that are sending you business, put them through real estate school and make them a personal referral agent of your own. But everyone you know should know you're in real estate, past customers, and throw some consumer appreciation parties for them, right? Open house events, right? Open houses, they shouldn't be reactionary. It shouldn't be let me throw out a sign and wait for someone to come through. That should be an event. If you're having a birthday party, if you're planning a wedding, do you wake up that morning and tell everybody, hey, you know what, I'm going to have a wedding today, come on by if you can? Or do you start inviting people and planning it out and think about how you're going to have it set up and what you're going to have there, what party favors and stuff? Make your open houses an event. They will get a lot more people through. There's a lot of marketing and things that you can do to drive attendance at your open houses. In office events, you could do market updates. Maybe you do thinking of selling seminars, which is you just put it out there. Hey, if you're thinking of selling your home in today's market, I'll do a market update, let you know what's going on, and talk to you each individually afterwards. Maybe you do a first-time home buyer seminar. Maybe you do a how to invest in real estate seminar. And I have a picture over here. One of our offices in the Chicago area actually has their own popcorn machine. They do so many in-office events. They have a popcorn machine that they fire up, so they always tell people, come in, we have coffee and popcorn for you. Business cards. You want to sell more real estate next year? Put 10 business cards in your pocket. Don't go home until you find 10 people to have a meaningful conversation about real estate with. If you had 10 conversations a day about real estate with folks, you would get more appointments, plain and simple. And I remember an instructor telling me to do this when I first started in real estate, right? And what he also said was if you have a day where you need to leave early and go home, he said, throw the business cards out your car window because someone's going to be walking down the street and they're going to have a need to buy or sell real estate. I always got a chuckle out of that. And then I always thought, you know what, my luck is I do it in front of a police officer and get a ticket for littering. But, you know, that's really kind of the joke is that people are thinking about real estate. Have business cards, hand them out. Look at your referral network. Do you have a referral network? When you go to events, when you go to Women's Council, when you go to your local and your regional, your state, and your national events, right? Your national event is phenomenal when you guys tie that into NAR. So not only do you have all of NAR, but you have all those Women's Council folks, and you're built into a referral network. Do you know who you're going to? If I'm in New Jersey and I have somebody that's relocating to North Carolina or to Salt Lake City, Utah, or to Sacramento, California, Who am I calling? I should know realtors all over the country. I should have that built in, and the expectation should be I'm getting that back. And then also look at the areas where there's a lot of relocation and build up a network. For example, Calgary and Houston, Texas, a ton of people going back and forth. I talk to folks all the time in Houston. I was like, who's your referral network person up in Calgary? They're like, what do you mean? I was like, have you ever stopped and looked at, because of the oil and the industries that are in those two areas, how much business is going back and forth? Have you ever stopped and looked at that and thought about, how do I not have connections up there to transfer business? Right? Look at Arizona and Chicago. How many people are buying second homes or retiring to Arizona from Chicago? Those are the things you want to look at. Your past clients, extremely important to reach out to and prospect with. Right now, the reason I show my cleaners here is your past clients, you should be their realtor for life. Now, when I moved to East Brunswick, New Jersey in 2008, I had to find all the usuals. I had to find, my pizza place. I had to find where I was going to get my hair cut, the Chinese food restaurant. I had to find the Little League fields and all this stuff. But you got to find your dry cleaners, right? You got to have which dry cleaners am I going to? The day I walked into Summerhill Cleaners, right here, here's the picture. I walked in, the guy's like, hey, how you doing? He had a Mets shirt on. We started talking about the Mets. He asked me my name. From that point on, every single time I walked into that cleaners, he's like, Carl, how you doing? I was like, Joe, what's going on? Do you want to pay today? You can pay when you come back, whatever. We have conversation. He's my cleaner for life. I have discount cleaners popping up right and left. I will go back to him because of the experience, because of my past with him. Right? So if you create that experience for your clients and they believe in you and you have that relationship now, why are we not going back and talking to them about business? Community events. Do the local community events. Be involved in your community. Support things that are going on. Hand out goodies, tchotchkes. It's branding. It's marketing. Be involved in your local market area so people see you. Everywhere they turn, they're seeing your name. Sponsor local Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts and events that they're doing. Sponsor baseball and softball teams and put your name on the back of the jerseys. It'll go a long way for you. And video marketing right now is my last and final of the 21 ways to prospect. Video marketing is huge. Communication is changing. Marketing is changing. Everything has gone from visual now to interactive. So video marketing, you have YouTube, Vimeo, your social media. You can send video through email attachments. And there's a company called BombBomb. If you're not familiar with them, it's the best way to do video marketing. It embeds it directly into your email. They'll sell you templates and all sorts of stuff. So you just read that template for who you're trying to attract, do the video, send it right out. Let me go back real quick. Websites all have video built right into them now. Text messaging allows you to add video and also live streaming. So here are a couple examples of video and communication. You could do market updates, walkthroughs, or introductions of new listings, testimonials from clients. You can introduce local partners, local businesses, do a quick tip of the day. You could send a thank you to people that come through your open house, or if you go on a listing appointment, send them a thank you video that night. You could do personal messages, happy birthday, happy anniversary, congrats on 5 years in the house, or you're getting the itch. You could do seller marketing, neighborhood information, instant responses. If somebody calls you and you can't answer the phone right away, have a video ready to go that you just text back to them. Now, if someone's calling you and you can't answer, they're probably calling you from their cell phone. No one uses their house phone anymore, right? So if you just respond back to that missed call, that phone number they provide, you can add a picture or text or video. Honestly, my house phone went off the other day. I thought it was a smoke alarm. The thing hasn't gone off forever. I was like, kids, let's get out. We got to get out of here, right? But you're going to get their cell phone numbers. Send them a video, 30 seconds or less. Hi, this is Carlton Utter. I'm sorry I missed your call. I'm out showing properties today, and I'm really focused on making sure that there's a great experience for my clients. However, your call is very important. I will be returning all calls by 5 p.m. today. You'll hear from me before then. You send that in a video. Now they're seeing you, they're locked in, there's a relationship being built, and then multiple offers. You used to do the letter. Now, if you're in a multiple offer situation, include a video. Have the buyer explain what they love about the home, why they see themselves living there, and attach that video with the offers that you're presenting. So I am so sorry that I went over by about 10 minutes. Unfortunately, my timing was a little off, but if you can't tell, I'm very passionate and enthusiastic about real estate, about helping you guys going into next year. And I hope you got a lot of stuff out of this that you could take. Again, if you try to do everything, it's just going to be overwhelming. Pick a few things that you can be great at, implement it first, and then work your way down the list on things that you heard today that you want to put into your business plan, especially when setting your goals for next year. So, Olivia, thank you so much for the opportunity. I'll stay on for a few questions. If anyone wants to stay on and ask away in that question box, I'll be happy to address them.